Welcome to Journeys Towards Wellness. I'm so glad that you're joining me today for today's conversation with a truly inspiring guest. Her name is Nancy Langevin. She is a former elite gymnast who once trained for a world championship. She's a clinical microbiologist, a high performance athletic coach, and the owner of a thriving fitness center. Um, Nancy, welcome, and thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity and look forward to our chat. Thank you so much.
Well, please tell our guests in your own words about yourself. You've done so many things, and I think that we really want to hear about your life trajectory.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I am honestly, when I look back at my life, I am so grateful for so many opportunities. It has not been easy. There have been a lot of setbacks. However, so many blessings. And I was born and raised in Mexico City to a multicultural family. My father was from Mexico and my mom was from the United States. And I think that was a blessing in itself. And through my journey, academics were enforced very heavily. And I'm so grateful for that as well. But early on, I found gymnastics and it became my passion. So I was on the national team on its way, or on my way. I had been selected to World Championships, and which was a qualifying event for the Olympics. So that became my life. And there were a lot of setbacks along the way. Fast forward to moving to the US and competing as a D1 gymnast at Southern Illinois University. And I took a few twists and turns. Initially, I was going to go to medical school like my father. He was a successful physician, but I just wasn't quite sure. So going forward until now, I am a microbiologist, a clinical laboratory scientist, and work at a large trauma center. And I also own a fitness training facility. So a little bit of different worlds, but I love it. I love that I get to do the things that I truly enjoy, and it's working to make patients' lives healthier in a way, even though it's in the lab, not directly patient care, but we contribute to the decision making for the physicians. And that I get to coach. I love sports, I love science, and I get to do both of them. So that is my life in a nutshell.
So, with all of those roles, has there been any particular one that you have found difficult to let go of? For example, having competed as a gymnast at the level that you did and having the setback. Could you tell us a little bit about why you stopped competing at that level?
So when I was on my way to World Championships, I broke my back. And in Mexico City, once you become part of the national team, you go train at the National Training Center. And as I mentioned before, that was a qualifying event for the Olympics. So ready to go, very excited. It seems like finally my dream was coming true, and I broke my back. And at that point, my coaches gave up on me and basically just decided that that was it for me. But it was not. It was not over. I remember my parents as well saying, you are more important than gymnastics, and you need to stop. But I knew that somehow I could make it happen, and it just did not feel like it was over. So I found my way back up, and I had to start from ground zero again, because basically, even though I had great coaches, they feel like, okay, she's done. We need to focus on whoever is next. And I had to go back to ground zero to my old gym and start training again. And I made the team back again. And at that point, Mexico decided that they were not going to be, they basically halted international travel for all athletes.
Mhm.
So there we go again, that all those years of training, 30 hours a week,
Yes.
and really
Yes.
my dream, my passion, that was it.
So you've had the experience of having to redefine yourself at various
Absolutely.
points in your life. Um,
Mhm.
what have you learned about reshaping yourself that you think is particularly applicable for women later in life um, as they transition possibly from having children at home or possibly through divorce or death of a spouse? What can you, how do you think you can apply what you learned um, as you transitioned and found new roles for yourself?
I
What
love
could
this
you
question. I love this question because we all go through it. Unfortunately, we are all going to go through some sort of adversity, as you mentioned, maybe a divorce or major diagnosis, or just having to reinvent yourself. And we're going to go through it multiple times. And I think that the way that we can move forward is realizing that that particular situation is just a season in your life. It's just an experience that you have gone through, and you have to find yourself. Yes, you're going to go through the feeling of loss and sadness and sometimes depression and difficulty, and you just feel like you lose hope because something major in your life changes. However, that was just part of your life. And that is where I feel that I have been truly blessed, because there have been so many multiple reinventions. And
recommend?
at that point, when I was a teenager, I thought my life was over. Gymnastics is over. My life is over. But no, that maybe that part was over. But then so many other ones came further along. And for anybody, especially women, as we go through this, and I have been through it, after 25 years of marriage, my ex-husband decided that he no longer wanted to be married, and that we needed to part ways. And it was devastating. And at that point, what do I do? How do I keep moving forward? But again, it was a lesson. It was a lesson for me to learn. And how can I start again? And the beauty of it is that no matter what happens to you, there is always the possibility of a new beginning. And it's going to be a creation of your doing. So basically, you get to decide how you want to live. So it's actually difficult as we go through the loss and the mourning and the sadness, sorrow, overwhelm. But you get through it, and every
Yes,
single human being can get through it.
yes,
And then at that point, you can start, okay, where do I want to go from here?
right.
And I get to choose that. So
Yes,
it's a blessing in disguise.
yes. I think that I think of it as a blank canvas that I get to
I love that.
um, create something new. So, do you think of the ability to get beyond those setbacks? Is it more a question of grit, or do you see it as adaptability?
It's a little bit of both. You have to have the desire to move forward, and there's some people that perhaps stay in that dark place a little bit longer than others. And it doesn't mean that one is better than others. We all have to grieve, but um, it starts with making a commitment to yourself to say, this is not how I'm going to live the rest of my life. I'm not going to stay in this dark place. So I'm going to move forward. And you have to start small, and you have to, again, make that commitment to yourself and not give up on that commitment. And there will be times when you're going forward and then there's another setback, or fear comes in, or doubt. But that's the point where, no, I made a commitment to myself and I'm going to move forward. So it's not only a physical, but also a mental and emotional commitment to yourself to keep going forward. And we can all do that.
As a former elite athlete and as a coach, do
Mhm.
you see resilience as something that is learned, or is it something that can be built upon over time? How do you see that?
Yeah, yes, yes to both. It's the ability to get back up. I think that the ability of the human spirit to say, I'm going to give myself another chance because I'm still here. I am
Yes,
still breathing. I still have life. I still have the opportunity. I always think that every day is a second chance that most of us get. Some people do not get that. And just by that, by being given that second chance, we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our creator. For me, that's God. But I don't want to look back to say I just gave up and I just lived the rest of my life surviving and not thriving, not creating the life
Yes.
that I want. So resilience is getting back up, because we get, every single one of us at some point of our lives, probably multiple times of our lives, we we um we get knocked down, and we
Yes.
have to say no, and we have that spirit living within us to say that I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep moving forward. And it's just a matter of small changes, of small steps in the right direction, but thankfully we can all get through that.
So, for someone that is in the process of redefining themselves, do you think that the success of that depends more on their daily routines, um, habits?
Absolutely. And it starts again with making that commitment. I'm not going to stay here anymore. We have to let go of the past, and not that we have to forget about it, because that's part of our journey here on earth. So we have to let go of that with grace, with gratitude, and say, like, okay, I'm here almost like in limbo, right? Where do I want to go? And decide that I want to move forward. I want to live again. I want to be alive. I want to have a happy life, and we all have that capability.
Yes.
So how do we move forward? It starts by, number one, that decision that I no longer want to be here. I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be in. We're going to continue to have those feelings, but
Yes.
they're going to be less and less. So it starts with a commitment, and then you start making small steps in the right direction. And my ideal life is going to be different than your ideal life, and that anybody else's. Everybody has their own unique definition of happiness. But you have
Yes.
to decide, you have to have clarity as to where you want to go. So commitment, and then you have to have clarity, and then start making steps in that right direction, creating habits that are going to be aligned to that journey. And little by little, you start with one, and then once you have dominated that one, then you go to the next one, and then the next one. So that's where I'm sure that most of you have heard habit stacking, and
Yes.
that's what it is. Then stacking one after the other, and then pretty soon you find yourself building momentum and going forward.
So, can you share with us a moment when you decided that you absolutely were not going to stay where you were and you were going to move forward?
Absolutely. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I think that the biggest moment was after my ex-husband left. It was a marriage of 25 years. We have blessed with two beautiful kids. And he left, and my whole identity again was taken apart. Like, who am I now? Now I'm not a wife. I have been this for most of my life, and what do I do, and how do I move forward, and what does life look like from now
Yes.
on? So again, I had to mourn. I had to mourn and be sad for that loss. But the moment came in when I was trying to do everything that I could to move forward, and I could not. I had two jobs, it just one, but I was coaching and I worked at a laboratory. So I had two jobs that I loved. When I was coaching my athletes, I just absolutely loved helping them and making them better athletes, but better humans. My two kids were doing great. I had a beautiful home. So everything on the outside seemed perfect in my life,
Yes.
but inside I was lost. I didn't know where I was going. I was sad. I just was going day by day, trying new things. I tried salsa classes. I tried more tennis leagues, different things. But deep down inside, I had to go through that internal transformation. And I remember one day waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sobbing. I was just sobbing, and I'm like, why am I feeling this way? And I just had a deep conversation with God. I started praying, and honestly, I was upset. I was angry, and I was saying, I have tried to be a good human being. I try to help people. I try to serve. I am trying to everything that I can to move forward, and I can't. So I'm giving you my life. You take control because I have tried everything that I can and I'm not moving forward. So help me, please help me. And I fell asleep. And then the next day, it was just honestly magical because I still remember the moment that I'm sobbing, upset, praying, but almost yelling at God, like, help me. And
Yes,
then little by little, all these answers. And I think that what happened then is that I realized that it's not just up to me. I'm not alone in this. Even though I felt alone that
yes,
I had to do that, that there's a greater force. And for me, that's God. I discovered my light at that moment. And
yes,
I think that that is God. And I knew that He always had my back. So
yes,
it's still emotional because it was such a transformative period in my life. And
yes,
all these opportunities out of the blue start have like magic. It's like thoughts, and you have to be
yes,
open again. You have to be looking and say, well, what does that mean? Maybe I need to try that. Okay, I'm going to do that. And it definitely took stepping out of my comfort zone. I
yes,
decided I was living back in Indiana at that point. And again, I had jobs. My kids were, at this point, my daughter had graduated from college and my son was away in Ohio in college. So I wasn't seeing him often. So I just had the conversation with them. And how would you feel if I moved away and started over? And they were
yes,
both, I'm so blessed because they were so supportive and said, we're behind you. You have to do what's going to make you happy. We support you and we believe in you. And knowing that, I just left, sold my house, which fought so hard in the divorce to keep because it was my kids' home, but it just became a home and it was my
yes,
previous home. So
yes,
I moved
yes,
to Florida and started my life
yeah.
over. And it has been not easy, so difficult in so many ways, but oh my gosh, not
Yes,
one day have I looked back and said, I wish I were back
yes.
there.
So it sounds as if you became 100%, the director of your own life. And for
Absolutely.
women that are struggling to get on with the next phase or find out where their next role or purpose um,
Mhm.
will be,
Mhm.
uh, how do you help them in terms of the coaching that you do get from being unstuck to actually creating a new life for themselves?
Well, at the beginning, I just tell them, I just want you to know that you have the power within to create
Yes,
any life that you desire. So you're going to be now the director, but almost like a co-director because you're never alone.
yes,
Maybe some people are not religious, but most people believe in a greater force or a creator, something out there, and know that God for me, but maybe for other people, the universe always has your back. And they're going to be working with you. He, she, whatever your thoughts or beliefs are, they're working with you to make it better. But that light, that inner power that you have is going to guide you. And when you learn to let go of what was, of your
yes,
past, and of doubt and of fear, and step into your comfort zone, not that it's easy, you're going to feel fear, you're going to feel doubt, but you got to keep on going forward because that is when magic happens. That is when the transformation begins. And whether it's me coaching elite athletes or me coaching a mom that wants to get back into fitness, or
yes,
it's me coaching somebody through we have an online academy where we help people rise into their own greatness.
yes,
Um, Whatever their roles are, it all boils down to your belief that you have the power within to achieve your goals and then stepping out of that comfort zone because that's when it's going to happen.
yes. I think that there's some warning signs for women in midlife. Um,
Mhm.
and oftentimes they take the form of not having great self-care, not getting enough exercise, having a poor diet, not really paying attention to the things that will give them the
Mhm.
fuel to create a new role for themselves. Um,
Mhm.
what is the mindset do you feel you can share with people that can kind of serve as a wake-up call or where they can assess to see where they are in terms of their fitness, their health, how that's affecting their overall experience of life?
So we only have one body And our health is the single most important thing. We don't have health, we can't do anything, right? So it is crucial that we take care of our bodies and that we take care of our mind as well, because your brain is important, and also your emotional well-being. And you have to start making small steps in the right direction. Unfortunately, many times people believe that I have to go from 0 to 100, but it's not that. You just have to make small progress,
Yes.
one step at a time, get healthier. And no, as you spoke about, this is fuel, and you're fueling your body. You would not want to put bad fuel into your car because it would quit running, right? So
Right.
that's exactly the same thing for our bodies. And unfortunately, especially for women, as we pass the 40-year mark, as
Yes.
we begin to going through so many changes, new
Yes.
roles, new difficulties, new challenges, we always tend to put ourselves last. We
Yes.
try to do for others, right? We want to be the caregiver, the caretaker. We want to be the problem solver, the leader, all of these roles, but for others. And we just forget to take care of ourselves. And that doesn't work, because little by little you start emptying your cup,
Yes.
and you're not going to be able to give to others the way that you want to give, because at the end of the day, especially for me, service is huge. Helping is number one on my list, but I will not be able to help if I'm not okay. And I've learned that the hard way, unfortunately,
Mhm.
because I think we all go through that. I have learned that you have to make yourself a priority. You have to set boundaries. You have to let go of guilt. All of these things that we go through that, well, maybe if I do something for me, I'm taking time away from my kids. But just think of how much better you will be when you're rested, when you feel well, when you're healthy.
Yes.
You will be able to provide more. And not only that, but for all the moms out there, and not even just the moms, for people who have families or partners, or just other people around them, right? At their work or at home, you're setting an example. People
Yes.
are always looking
Yes.
at what you're doing, and how we show up, how we
Yes.
show them that we're important as well. We're going to show that to our kids, that you have to take care of yourself so then you can give
Yes.
to others.
So you really answered my next question, which was what would be your description or definition of aging well? You've just described that, the importance of self-care, um,
Absolutely.
you know, doing the right things for our body. I think that so many people are very preoccupied and consumed with just what the exterior looks like
Mhm.
without, you know, recognizing that we live from the inside out. So we have to pay attention to what we
Absolutely.
eat, how we're
Absolutely.
sleeping, you know, how much self-care we're affording ourselves, definitely.
Well, and I would like to add, as far as longevity too, it's not just, most of us would think that it's just our bodies. How long are our bodies going to last? But it's not just how long, but how well. We
Yes,
want to feel alive. We want to feel great. We want to feel like we have a sense of purpose, of
yes,
having meaningful pursuits, right? So we have to start looking at how we can improve our health. Yes,
yes,
number one, our bodies, right? Nutrition, sleep, all of that. But we also have to take into consideration our emotional well-being, our mental well-being.
yes,
And one of the biggest predictors for longevity is your sense of connection. People
yes,
who are isolated, people who don't have a support system, who don't have good connections. It has been shown time and time again in research that they don't live as long. And unfortunately, it's not just living as long, but they're isolated, they're
yes,
depressed.
yes,
So having a good community, people who support you, who encourage you, who lift you, is
yes.
crucial.
So as we get to the end of our interview, I want you to tell us about your meaningful pursuits. There's two in particular that you're involved with right now. Tell us about the training that you're doing for your upcoming race.
I'm so excited. And that's something that I wanted to have people in your audience find out, that what lights you up? What did you always wanted to do, but you didn't do it because of fear, because of doubt, because maybe you were worried people are going to judge you? Are you crazy? Ignore that. What really lights you up? And for me, having been an athlete basically my whole life, but growing up and in college, and then I got into tennis competing, I just love that sense of training with a purpose and of competing. And I just decided I'm getting back to competition, and I'm 59 years old.
Yes.
So most people would say, "You're done. That's in the past. You can't compete." No, I'm not done yet. There's still so many opportunities. So I decided, what can I do? Where can I compete? And I found a track and field competition that was nearby. I have lupus,
Yeah.
and I had not been able to train for a long time. I had had a inner ear problem. They thought it was brain. I was falling, all these different things. So no training, but suddenly I'm feeling better and there's a competition. So I thought, I'm just going to go and see what happens. And oh my gosh, it was like they injected 10 years of life into me. And I have a long way to go, and I have injuries, and I have to be careful how I train. So I'm not 16 or 20
Right,
anymore,
right.
but it's different. We're all on that same boat. And I'm going to be competing in Mexico City at my former national training center. Well, it's still the
Wow.
national training center, but this international competition is
Yes,
happening in less than 30 days now.
yes,
And so I'm going to be traveling back home,
yes,
and it happens to be the 4 year anniversary of my dad's passing. So it is almost like God presented this opportunity, which maybe the little doubt would have said, "You're crazy. Going
yes,
all the way there, you're not prepared, you're not going to win," because as a competitive athlete, I want to do
yes,
well.
yes,
But there's a much greater purpose for
yes,
this. And it's
yes,
just showing to myself and to others that it
yes,
is possible. It is
yes.
possible to dream again. So,
Right.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm so
that's
excited.
beautiful. So
Thank
we've
you.
got just a couple more minutes left, but I would like you to tell us about your involvement with animals and rescue.
So I have always loved animals, and being so busy with the hospital work and the gym that we own and creating the academy and all that, it seemed like it was taking my time. But out of the blue, I started having these animals come close to our house, and they were hungry, they were hurt, and I'm like, I have to step up to help them. I love
Yes,
it. And I always, since I was a little girl, I used to think I want to own an animal sanctuary because they depend on us. They can't live on their own. They
yes,
depend on us to take care of them, to help them, to be their voice. And I always thought, one day I'm going to own a sanctuary. So probably about 2 months ago, a stray cat was coming to our house. I was feeding him and giving him love and all that. And then he started to go downhill. And I'm like, I have to do something and step up to save this poor cat. And long story short, he is now super happy in a loving home. And that was my first rescue. And I feel that not only do I do that, I am part of or I contribute monthly to the ASPCA. I'm always feeding animals on the street, doing everything that I can, trying to connect people. If I can connect, maybe help in some way, other people can help in other ways. And together we can do this better for animals. We cohabitate in this planet, and it is our responsibility. We have food, we have shelter. It is our responsibility to help others who do not, including animals.
Well, I feel that we have not talked nearly enough. Our time is coming to an end. I want to thank you so much. If you would send me the race information, and I will post some of your information. I want people to know about your book,
Thank
as well
you.
as the animal charities that you're involved with.
Thank
You've
you.
really inspired many people today, and thank you
Thank you.
so much for your time.
Oh,
Um,
it has been my pleasure. I so appreciate the opportunity. And one last thought that I would like to say is I want every single person listening to this or watching this to know that they have an inner light, and find your light, light your own path, move forward, and light the path
yes,
for others.
yes, which is exactly what you are doing. So
Thank
thank
you. Thank
you.
you. I
Thank
appreciate that.
you.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a great afternoon, Nancy.
You as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Bye-bye.
Bye.